Yo, good morning. Welcome to Hot Chocolate News. Yeah, and I am your lovely host, Shaquila, the Black Girl Magic Master herself, Dr. Keela, Biz Doc, Money Flow Master. Yo, let's get into my emails. They on fire. Yeah. I missed y'all, but we gotta get into today's news. Did y'all see this shit? Russia is mobilizing, and fuck the partial shit, they're mobilizing. That shit right there, let's get into it. All right, so let's go ahead. Who gonna feed us today's news right now? All right, let's go with Morning Brew. No. Let's go with CNN's 5 things. CNN 5 things that's sent to your email if you're a subscriber like myself. This is what you got this morning. Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced the immediate partial mobilization of Russian citizens in an escalation of Moscow's offensive in Ukraine, and plans to use what? All means. Not some means, not just a little means, all means to defend the country and its Russian people. So the mobilization would mean Russian citizens who are now in the reserve and those with military experience that could be enlisted, basically to serve in the country's army. And so this is according to Russian officials. This is not according to me, Dr. B. You know what I'm saying? This isn't according to just CNN. This is according to Russian officials. So about 300,000 reserves will be called up as part of this partial mobilization that Putin has put out. So, he put this in a televised national address earlier today. That was, like I said, their time schedule is different from us. But Putin also referenced his potential use of nuclear weapons, saying those who try to blackmail us with nuclear weapons should know that the prevailing winds can turn in their direction. And this is what a top UK official, however, claims that Putin announcement is an acknowledgement, basically, that Moscow's invasion is failing. That's basically it. That's all, y'all. All right, let's get to the music. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure that we got our little situations popping. You know what I'm saying? Let me make sure. You know what I'm saying? Let's make sure. Limited time, get up to 12 bonus months. Or refer a friend. Y'all want some YouTube premium? I'm going to need y'all to go ahead and listen. I will refer you. Yes, I will. Now let's find us some good lo-fi, free, no copyright music on YouTube while we finish the rest of today's news, because Hurricane Fiona, was escalated into a Category 4 storm and is continuing along in a catastrophic pathway northward today. Yeah, that's what's happening. Puerto Rico, Turks, and Caicos, our favorite little playgrounds, and the Dominican Republic now face a prolonged recovery process after devastating flooding and devastating raging winds basically damaged critical water and power infrastructures. And you already know our people been already suffering since the beginning of the pandemic and situations, but Fiona's sustained winds have been as high as 130 mile per hour wind gusts, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And basically, it's expected to strengthen as it moves from Turks and Caicos today, and basically makes its way to the Bermuda by the end of the week. So just so you know, that was what else CNN was reporting in CNN's 5 things. Also, CNN is reporting, because I really want to talk about this is what I really want to talk about, because we're not talking about this enough as far as I'm concerned. But I want to talk about it. We're going to talk about DeSantis. DeSantis is on one. He's pulling out one of those old Republican tactics. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those old Republican tactics where basically they shipping all the immigrants to Democratic states. Illegally, mind you, because I don't see how this is even going to work out. Let's read the news. It's being reported. It is being reported in Morning Brew because, see, this is just number 2 of my hot topics that I want to talk about today on Hot Chocolate News, because I don't know what the hell anybody else is talking about, but we need to talk about DeSantis' ass right now, because honestly, the naive, oh my goodness. So, let me make sure I find this article, because for real, when I was reading it earlier, all I could do to keep myself from cussing out loud and doing a lot of things was just to keep reading the article. And the article is written really well, and it's presented in a really good way. So I will give them that. You know what I'm saying? But let me find the article, because basically what's going on is that DeSantis is being sued now for what he called himself doing. Yeah, they're being sued. He's going to be sued by a whole bunch of Venezuelan immigrants right now. Now, let me find the article, y'all, because for real, it just really, DeSantis, really. And they had already, I reported in last week's Hot Chocolate News that your boy had already sent like $6,900 to Washington D.C. and like $2,100 to like somewhere else. But let me find that article, y'all, because I do not want to get too far away from that, because there's also another very big news story. Today's news is going to take a whole full-blown hour. It really is. It really is. Okay, yeah. Venezuelan migrants who were flown to Martha's Vineyard. Yo, listen, they done filed a class action lawsuit against the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, and other state officials for relocating them under false pretenses. Bro, under false pretenses. Like I said, your boy was doing this last week. He's been doing this since I think like the spring. Since the spring. I really think he's been doing that since the spring. But the undocumented migrants flown to Martha's Vineyard last week, they filed a class action lawsuit Tuesday against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and other Florida officials. Now driving the news, the migrants allege in the complaint that they were given misleading information, promising cash assistance, employment services, and housing assistance, which they call bold-faced motherfucking lies. Okay, they call them bold-faced lies. The nearly 50 migrants, mostly Venezuelans, said they were told that they were headed to Boston and Washington, D.C., according to the complaint. So they allege that Florida officials manufactured, they manufactured an official looking brochure using language from the Massachusetts Refugee Resettlement Program in order to buttress their false oral representations in a furtherance of this conspiracy. Oh my God. So they've escaped a humanitarian crisis in Venezuela, only for DeSantis to use them as pawns in this political stunt. This is what the complaint is stating, y'all. Yeah, let's not just get away from it. So the migrants who are being represented by the Boston-based lawyers for civil rights say they suffered economic, emotional, and constitutional harms. And yes, they did. And that amount to a minimum of $75,000. They're also asking the federal court to block DeSantis from repeating his actions. Come on. I mean, what else are they saying? The complaint argues that the Florida officials conduct discriminates on the basis of alienage and deprives them of equal protections of law under the 14th Amendment. All right. So Florida officials have intentionally targeted only individuals who are non-white and born outside the United States, they've alleged. Now, defendants' actions not only offend all notions of fairness, but they also strip plaintiffs of their basic fucking human rights and dignity in violation of due process. What? Come on, Republicans. Yo, do not be on the DeSantis Republican side. Yo, that is a DeSantis. That is a demonic. No. We want our real Republicans back. Real Republicans, y'all fight against this monstrosity. So the other side, it's opportunistic. Okay? You know, that activists would use illegal immigrants for political theater. And this is what Taryn Finsky, a spokesperson for DeSantis, in a statement to Axios, has actually said. So they literally are calling. So if these activists spent even a fraction of the time, according to this representative of DeSantis, this is what the representative of DeSantis is saying. If these activists spent a fraction of this time and effort at the border, perhaps some accountability will be brought to the Biden administration's reckless border policies that entice illegal immigrants to make dangerous and often lethal journeys through Central America and put their lives in the hands of cartels and coyotes. I mean, this is what the DeSantis camp has put the fuck out with they stupid. Yo, Finsky, we ain't even gonna fucking talk about this, but who attached a redacted consent form. The consent form was motherfucking redacted for the flight, said it was a voluntary program that gave the homeless, hungry, and abandoned immigrants a fresh start in a sanctuary state, and it was a complete falsification, Finsky. The Finsky? What the Finsky? We a Finsky. So here's the big picture. Lawyers for the migrants have asked the Massachusetts Attorney General and federal government to open criminal investigations in response to the transports, which have elicited strong reactions on both sides of the aisle. You know what I'm saying? Because the real Republicans ain't playing this shit either. You know what I'm saying? So DeSantis has said he plans to spend millions that Florida has budgeted to continue this controversial practice. Like I said, just your boy already been doing this since like the springtime. And so the Biden administration is considering litigation options in response to this silly situation. And a Texas sheriff has opened a criminal investigation into the flights. Yeah. Okay, so it's worth noting that the American border officials have had over 2 million encounters with migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border so far this fiscal year, setting a new record after sustained surges in migration, but it don't happen on the northern border. So I'm gonna need them to figure something out. We can't just do one border one way and the other border. And then I'm thinking that the border really don't matter when we got bodies of water that can cross. Listen, let's go deeper. What we know about Texas and Florida transports on migrants. You want to go deeper? Yeah, let's go deeper. And White House coordinating with the Delaware situation. See, because what we know about the Texas and Florida transports of migrants is that since the spring, over 10,000 migrants have been transported from mostly Texas to predominantly Democrat-run cities in a bid to test their social safety nets and challenge President Biden's border policies. You know what I'm saying? So driving the news is buses sent by Abbott dropped off roughly 100 migrants outside Harris residence in D.C. on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? And this is reported by the Texas Tribune. So, the arrival followed a similar move by DeSantis, who sent some 50 migrants by plane to Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts on Wednesday. Listen, this has got to be, this is stopped because in D.C., because if we zoom in, D.C., Chicago, and New York have struggled to meet the need, with local officials calling on the Biden administration to provide federal support. Not to mention the D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has declared a public emergency last week a whole public emergency last week in response to the influx, and has said she is very disappointed in not having a federal site to house and process the migrants. You know what I'm saying? The federal government has rejected her request to have the National Guard deployed for assistance. Now, let's look between the lines here. While Abbott, Ducey, and DeSantis say their actions have given predominantly Democratic-run states a taste of what they have endured, critics have lambasted the move as a cruel and inhumane publicity stunt, pointing to the fact that many of these migrants are seeking asylum after fleeing danger. Yo, we're going to have to get back. You know what? We're going to chop up today's news in little bits and pieces. I'm about to just put it in here in my little shorts. We're going to make the rest of this whole situation YouTube shorts. Y'all, thank y'all for joining me this morning, because we got to get it's going down, especially when the SPAC situation is going on. Did y'all know? Yeah, that whole little SPAC craze that was going on from like 2020, 2019, that shit is over. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to do that in my little shorts, my little YouTube shorts. But thank y'all for joining me. I love y'all. Love, peace, and hair grease. Remember, if you pray, you do not need to worry about nothing. You already know. Thanks for joining Hot Chocolate News. I forgot to put that part in there. Yeah, that part.